Hi, Deliberate Leaders. This is Jennifer Drean, Executive Coach and Success Strategist at Deliberate Directions. And I just wanted to share with you today some tips and tricks for filling out your smarter goal sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. So this is the smarter goal sheet that we use here at Deliberate Directions, and we use this versus a standard smarter or smart goal sheet because it just kind of hits on some points that the regular smart goal sheet doesn't quite do. So I'll point out kind of a few things here and then give you some tips and tricks. So of course we want to put our date up at the top just so that we know when we started and made this goal. And then in the first box, hashtag goal, we want to put a very smart goal. We want it to be very specific, very measurable, very achievable, risky, and time focused. And if you look about halfway down, there's actually this part here that says smarter, and it's got these little buttons in it where you can kind of check off. So that way you can read over your goal and make sure and say, check, yep, I made it specific. I made it measurable, achievable, risky, and time focused. After you've done that in the first box, you're going to write down in the purpose, the hashtag purpose box, why you've made the decision to make this goal. And it's really important that you make this part the part that's exciting and relevant. You can't have a goal that's achievable, risky, time focused, measurable, and specific if it's also not relevant to where you are in your business or your life right now. And you can't really make it meaningful to you if it's not exciting as well. So don't just make a goal for the heck of it. Make sure that it's exciting and relevant. On this part, kind of a tip and trick that I like to use is to go 5 levels deep with your why. So usually the first thing that comes to mind of why we want this goal is very superficial and it's not meaningful or impactful enough for us to read every day and then make us keep working on it when the quarter gets tough and things get hard. So once you've kind of hit on why you want the goal, ask yourself, well, why do you want that? And then again, why do you want that? And kind of keep going deeper about, like I said, 5 whys deep to figure out really what your deep, real big why is, because that's going to keep you motivated throughout your quarter, year, or whenever it is you're trying to reach your goal. So once you've done that, you're going to mark whether you've made it as a habit goal or an achievement goal. And then you're going to mark down which quarter is your focus for the goal. Once you've done that, you're going to actually create the action steps. So when you're looking at the action steps, we encourage you to ask the question, how? How are you going to hit that $1 million revenue mark? How are you going to do that? Keep asking yourself how, kind of like we did with the whys, but just keep asking how. We want to make this so that we break it down into really bite-sized pieces, because that makes the goal manageable and easy to swallow. I'm sure a lot of you have heard the analogy of, how do you eat an elephant? Well, one bite at a time. Well, that's what we're trying to do here. Is we know that this big goal that you've created on the top of your screen is probably pretty big to make it risky, right? But the way that we're going to tackle it is not the whole goal at once, which can be very overwhelming. We're going to tackle it one tiny bite at a time. And it's important to not only say what the action step is, but to do it with an action verb. So a lot of times people will put something very simple and basic like get this done. Okay, great. But we need an action item. So maybe excuse me, maybe the action item is to um, design a plan that can be implemented by your team for marketing purposes. That's a lot more impactful and meaningful than create a marketing plan. So try to figure out how you can make the question of what you're going to be doing really exciting and action driven. You also want to be put down who the owner of the task is. And this is kind of hard. If you're a solo entrepreneur or if you are the leader that's responsible for this goal, you might notice your names in here a lot. I would encourage you to try to figure out who on your team is a better fit for this. If it's just you, well, that might mean it's just you, but sometimes it can even be somebody that you hire outside, right? Like if you need to meet with your CPA, maybe you'll assign something to your CPA. If you need to meet with your attorney, assign something to them. So something to kind of think about as you're doing this. It's really hard to hit a 90-day goal when you're the only one working on it. So get everybody else involved too. Make them take ownership and you'll all work on it a lot easier and smoother throughout your quarter. And then don't forget to set your target date. When is that particular action item due by? And this will help you hold those and yourself accountable to getting the goal done in the 90-day time window that we recommend you do that. So over here on the right side is this pursue box, the hashtag pursue. This is just a really good opportunity for you to think about some of the things that are going to come up, that are inevitably going to come up, that will either distract you from creating your goal or hitting your goal, or maybe some lessons that you could potentially learn. So the first one there is obstacles. What are some possible obstacles that you're going to run into? I say when because you will. There are always obstacles that come up for us, and so what are the things that you need to do to create the plan now to either hurdle over those obstacles when they come or sidestep them and go around? Knowing what they are and creating the plan ahead of time will make you more successful at the end of the quarter. Next up is, what are your potential benefits? This kind of goes a little bit again into your why. Like, what are some of the things that you're going to get out of hitting this goal? You know, if you're trying to hit $1 million in revenue this year, does that mean you get to hire a new team member? Does that mean that you get to take home more pay? There's lots of different reasons, but what are those benefits to you? Because again, these kind of keep you motivated. And then don't forget to go over what your emotions are. Sometimes the common emotions that come here are fear, anxiety, stress, but there's also usually excitement. I kind of believe that anything worth doing should both scare you and excite you at the same time. But again, knowing that fear is there will help you make decisions not based on that fear, but maybe based on what you want to hit instead and the goals that you have. So, understanding the emotions behind your goal and how you feel about it will help you again overcome those and make sure you're making decisions coming from the right place. Lessons learned. I like to fill this out into one of two different ways. One is, you can say, what are some potential lessons that you could learn from this goal, trying to hit this goal? The other is that you can save this box until the end of the quarter when you're reflecting on how you're doing, and then write down what lessons you've learned. Um, Either way is just fine. Whatever speaks to you is the best way to do it. Down at the bottom is the hashtag promise. This is where you're going to write down a mantra that you'll read every day to stay focused and committed. So, some good examples I've seen in the past are, let's say you've got that $1 million revenue mark. Your goal might be, show me the money. Something that's really simple and easy to do that you can kind of post on your mirror at work. You can kind of read it every day, because sometimes we don't always pull out our smarter goal sheet every day, but if we can put this tagline, it's going to remind us that we should be working on and focusing on that smarter goal. And then down at the very bottom, in this bottom right corner, is the hashtag prize button, or box. This is your reward for success. You have to have a reward for success. Sometimes we get so busy working and working and striving, and we never really take the time to reflect on what we did great and then reward ourselves for those victories that we've achieved. This doesn't have to be a thing or money, it can be something intrinsic. I oftentimes will do something that I wouldn't maybe do or buy for myself regularly, something that would be like kind of like a high bucket list. So let's say we hit $1 million in revenue and I wanted a new laptop. I would not probably go out and just buy a new laptop unless mine was completely dead. I would make my laptop last a long time, but maybe I would set a goal that if we hit $1 million in revenue, that my prize for myself would be that. I've set other prizes that are, team prizes. Maybe we all get a paid day off or something like that, to help incentivize the team also. And so they have that success and that prize for them as well. So there's lots of ways to do this. I hope that was helpful. There isn't really a right and wrong way to do the smarter goal sheet, but the more specific that you can be on it, the more likely you are to achieve it. Spend some good time working on this. Each goal should have quite a bit of detail laid out on here. And don't forget, you can definitely use the back. I tend to always find that I have more action steps than what are available on this sheet. So it's okay to kind of keep going. And then just remember to look at this every day, read it every day, try to figure out how you can implement your action plan in really small bite-sized chunks, because that's what's going to help you be more successful, and then refocus yourself every 90 days by setting some new goals. I hope this was helpful. Have a great rest of your day.